I'm Mark Alyn. This is Late Night Health. The next few weeks we're going to be talking about the connection between health and spirituality with a number of different people from around the country, if not the world, Canada and Europe. And I'm really excited about those people. I was at a conference this last weekend, and it was mind-blowing about what these people have learned to do in connecting themselves spiritually with their health to improve their health and how it works. We'll find out more about that over the next few weeks here on Late Night Health. And again, we're going to be working out with Kat and the Catnap Fitness in about 15 minutes from now. Right now, we spend some time again with Abbey Meyers, the author of Orphan Drugs, A Global Crusade. In your research, in your own family, obviously, Abbey, you found, your kids have Tourette's, which is a very rare disorder. Did you start looking for parents and other people to commiserate with about rare disorders, and that's what led you to found the organization?
Well, the issue is the word crusade, because what I realized early on was that I would not be able to change the situation for my son, for my family, or for their disease, that I had to talk to other disease organizations and find out if they were having the same problems. And so I talked to somebody who had a disease called myoclonus, and she told me that her doctor had found a treatment for it, and he was mixing it up in his laboratory, and this disease was so disabling. Most people were in chronic care facilities in bed 100% of the time, but this drug got them better. They got out of bed, and once a week they would go up to his laboratory at Mount Sinai in New York and help him stuff the pills full of this medicine. And then I spoke to other people from other diseases, and same thing. They knew of treatments. There's a disease called cystinosis. There was a doctor who had developed a treatment for it, and he had hired a chemist who had built a laboratory in his garage and was making the drug in his garage so that none of these children would die. And there's only a few hundred children with cystinosis in the country, but it was keeping them alive. And so you began to understand that there's a whole underground for orphan drugs, because the commercial sector, no matter how you begged and no matter how you pleaded, they would not develop these drugs.
But somebody who's developing a drug, I'm sorry, Abbey, somebody who's has a lab in their garage or their basement, are they? They're and even though they're doctors and they're trained, and they're creating something that works, do they have to worry about FDA and all that?
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, that drug would never get approved and on the market, because in order to do that, you have to make it in a factory that passes FDA inspections, and that the whole process has to be viewed all the way along until the drug comes out. And FDA wants to make sure that each capsule, for example, would contain exactly the same type of medicine. And does it disintegrate in the bottle? Because if air gets to it, is it going to disintegrate? And so, yeah, all of these issues meant that the commercial sector had to get involved with orphan drugs. They had to be able to manufacture them in FDA-regulated facilities. And so that's what the Orphan Drug Act was going to do. But I had to create this coalition of rare disease support groups all over the country, all over the world, to try to work together. Because individually, one family is, 5 or 7 people, but you put all of these 7,000 diseases together, you've got a formidable political force. And that's what got the Orphan Drug Act passed into law.
Got it.
Besides Jack Klugman's show, Quincy, if you remember
Oh,
that.
sure.
It was, yeah, Jack Klugman's brother was dying of a rare disease, and he called me up and said, I'd like to do a show about this orphan drug problem. And he convinced Jack Klugman to do it, and it was about orphan drugs and Tourette syndrome. And that show, that he put a sign at the end of the show saying, even though this was a fictional story, the problem is real and there is legislation pending in Congress. And so that got people writing to him from all over the country, and he sent those letters to me, and we built up this huge coalition of many individuals, many support groups, and the politicians couldn't ignore us anymore.
Got it.
And that's formed the crusade.
Abbey, thank you very much for joining us here on Late Night Health. If you want more information, I'm going to make it real easy for people. If you go to latenighthealth.com, look under NORD, N-O-R-D, on our site. It'll take you to a page that'll have a way of getting Orphan Drugs, A Global Crusade, the book. You'll find out more about the organization, and it'll take you to their website. Go to latenighthealth.com. All right, we're out of time. We're going to be back in just a couple of moments. We're going to start working out and shaking up the bat as we move on here on Late Night Health.